guys, welcome to Tommen Talk. I'm Crystal and this is Bree, and we are here to talk to you guys about some of the topics that you want us to talk about in relation to Boys of Tommen. So today we're going to be talking about Liz and Hughie because it's just been something people have been asking, more so around their relationship and when we think they're going to potentially get back together. But we are looking at unpacking a lot of the different, scenarios in the Boys of Tommen books. Just so you know, like a disclaimer, we obviously are just speculating. None of this is obviously what we think potentially might happen. It's all based on snippets and literally a delusional state. And our theories do change every day, so we just wanted to let you know that.
And we're going to have a bunch more presentations. So we're going to keep going through like each of the scenes. We're going to do one for like Katie Feely. We're going to do the letter. We have a bunch of stuff planned. So it's not just Hugh and Liz. We're going to unpack everything together. It's just too long for one video.
Okay, so our first section is on Hughie and Lizzie, and this is mainly just around the snippets that we found in relation to the timeline, basically leading from releasing 10, moving into Taming 7, and then potentially 2006, which we don't actually have a lot on because that's potentially when the next book will cover. So we have a 9-month gap in the timeline from when Liz comes out of the hospital, and I think we think that's probably when we're going to get a lot of the next book filling in the gaps because we don't actually have a lot to go off there. The only thing we've put together is October, which is Hugh's 17th birthday, and New Year's Eve, which is Hugh saving Liz at Biddy's. And they're literally like the only two things we could think of that would happen in that timeline. So potentially in that 9 months, there may not be a lot of interaction between Liz and Hugh. It's obviously post the breakup, post her getting out of hospital and him being with Katie. So yeah, we're just not really sure on what could be happening there. We do New Year's Eve 2004 is probably the only thing we actually have in concrete around a snippet. And that snippet is Hugh pissing off Kay and the gang when he saves Liz New Year's Eve 2004 in Biddy's when the trouble kicks off. And we get to January and March. So the main thing there is January, the 90s party, which we definitely think we're going to unpack a lot in the next book. More so around like those point of views. Like we've seen a snippet in Redeeming Six around Liz and Hugh arguing downstairs because he doesn't want her to go upstairs with Piers. So there's obviously some interaction there, whether he's still just looking out for her, potentially, whether she's drunk and whatnot as well. And then there's obviously a few snippets around potentially some things happening with Feely and Katie, which we will unpack further in our Feely and Katie presentation. But we think that the 90s party might be like a bit of a catalyst for some of the interactions between that love square situation that we have pegged for the next book. Then we get into February. There wasn't really much in February, I guess. There was Liz just not being happy that she was at the game. So she was obviously in a mood. And then we move to March where we potentially think she's spiraling in the sense that that's obviously a big month for her with everything that has gone down. And then she's got her parents splitting as well. And what we picked up was the playlist around Liz and Hugh in the library, which is March 2005.
Yes. I think the end of March going into like April is just like a horrible time for Liz, especially because so much stuff happened to her like in like previous years in April. So I think now her parents are splitting like literally like the end of March. It's just like a fiasco. I think that might have even like inspired some of the events that take place in Dublin.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like we've seen a few snippets of like school car park, illicit library trips. So there's obviously multiple library trips, I want to say, like, and that's potentially the first one where they maybe start to connect and have some sort of relationship. And obviously she's spiraling from there. And if we know Hugh's going to pick up if she's spiraling at any point in time, and he's going to pick up those tells moving into, Dublin. Then we get to Dublin.
Hey, Dublin!
Dublin is like one of the many $1 million questions.
It's like, what happened in Dublin? And I'm like, I don't know. I didn't write the book, but I can help.
What happened today? It's like, does it just... I don't know. So the Dublin trip, honestly, we don't know. We go back and forth between what we think happens in Dublin. We're in too much around Liz and Hugh actually doing anything to the point of physically cheating, just because of Hugh's obviously character and how he was, developed in releasing 10 and how he was very against infidelity, his values and his morals, are very strong. I think there's potential because they're obviously under influence. There's bits of them being drunk and high and whatnot. So potentially there's obviously something happening there. But the snippets, they don't really step out whether something did or didn't happen. It's more just like there's potential that they've been put in a situation where they could action on some of the, feelings that they still have.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then also like it says like they're like under the influence. So like I can't see like this being the first time they like actually like get together fully. Like I want to believe that Hugh's first time wouldn't be when he's like not sober.
Yeah, 100%. And I think like he would be the voice of reason. Even though he is obviously under influence, he would say, no, like probably not a good idea. We do have a theory that potentially him and Katie are on a break at this point, which would give him more ammunition to do something. But I think, yeah, there's just a few cards, I guess, in play because you've got Liz kissing Pierce prior to the game. Yeah, which was random. And then you've got Hugh and Liz on the bus before the hotel. So they haven't even gone to the hotel yet. They're already on the bus together. Then they get drunk and potentially hotel room swap. Then on the bus home, Feely is scowling. So he's obviously annoyed. Pierce has dagger eyes and Liz is asleep next to Hugh. So that obviously relate to the Dublin trip. So you've got the I can't scenes, which are really about Liz, and it says like moving her hand into the intended destination. And if you look at one of the playlists, it says that like he grabbed her hand before it could touch him. So it's kind of like implying that that's the same scene. Then you've got him saying, no, I can't do it. Doing this would only result in me hurting Katie or Liz hurting me. So he's obviously still in that phase of like not trusting Liz. And then obviously at the end, he's saying that obviously he's on the bus with her and he's obviously hungover as well. So, I mean, anything's possible. We feel like it's probably, if anything were to happen, it's probably a kiss. It's probably very minimal. And Hugh's going to own up to it because that's who he is. He says that his mother always said to speak feelings. So, yeah, that's kind of where we're at with Dublin.
In my head, there has to be some mutual understanding between Hugh and Katie if something was to go down. I just feel like it's so out of character for him, like from what we saw in Releasing 10, for him to like be like, okay, let's cheat now.
Yeah, I know people are going to bring up the 7 sleepless nights thing, and if you've read that, it honestly reads like fan fiction. Like it's honestly just a dump of ideas, and it's not Hugh. Don't use protection. It's very quick. There's no like love there. And if that's their first time together, I really doubt that that's how that would go down. So yeah, I really am taking that with a grain of salt. But yes,
I don't think it's canon.
No. Then we go to April through to September. So we've kind of pieced together some things that happen. So April, we've got like post-Dublin. So potentially if there is something that have happened there's going to be a bit of a falling out with Katie and Hugh, which then may lead to May, where Feely drives Katie home. Then we've got Johnny's 18th camping trip, which obviously there's a bit of a tiff with the group there. Then we move to June, where there's the one scene we know that Hugh kisses Katie, and we're going to say that the one scene. That is
one scene. One singular scene.
Okay. Then we get to July, where there's a playlist around Hugh loving Liz. Then we get to August, which is beach camping, and they seem a bit like familiar with each other, where Liz and Feely argue and Hugh starts to follow Liz. So from like September onwards, Hugh is like seen following Liz when she has like a meltdown or has something happen, and that's like noticed by Aoife and Joey and like Shannon. Like it's noticed by a few people that Hugh goes and follows her. So yes. Let's unpack the camping trips.
Oh, I love the camping trips.
So there are 2 camping trips, guys. Like just
Yes, we have Johnny's 18th, which is May 31st, 2005, and then we have beach camping that happens in Taming 7 in August 2005. So 2 separate trips. It's just a few months apart.
Yeah. And I think the main thing is Johnny's 18th, it's very clear that nobody's happy. So like I guess the prologue into the camping trip is, everyone's unhappy. Feely's the only one that's kind of like pretty chill, but Hugh and Katie look unhappy. And there's obviously a bit of a tiff going on with potentially, I want to say Feely and Katie as well. Liz and Hugh are seen obviously arguing post the whole Gibbsy thing. That's like the only moment Hugh's like kind of mean.
Yeah, I agree. Like he's like, I think it has to be more than like what happened with Liz and Gibbs. Like he seems mad, like really mad.
Yeah, he's like, to say like kind of over it and whatnot. It's like, yeah, that was a bit mean. And then Feely and Liz go off on a walk, and there's like that weird line where Feely's like, come here, and I'm like, oh, okay. It's giving like Dom and Sub vibes.
Like, and then even Liz is like, what?
Yeah,
she's like,
oh, okay. And Katie go off on a break for 20 minutes, which we think, again, we don't think anything's actually happened there. Potentially, it's pretty clear that Hugh isn't 100% committed to Katie. And from like this point onwards, like with Liz being around more, I think he's starting to battle his like feelings a bit.
Yeah, for sure. I think like, because like we know that Katie and Hugh's relationship is kind of very like shield and comforty, that I think that the more Liz comes around, it's gonna be very hard to shield from that.
Yeah, exactly. So other camping trip is in August, and there's like the tiff with Katie around the ED comment that Liz makes. Katie and Feely in a tent. Okay, Liz brings Pierce, which I think pisses off Hugh because he's obviously like thinking that maybe she's moving on from him. And then we've got this new Cliff snippet as well. So these are the snippets that relate to those scenes. I think there's a lot of, implied sexual scenes, I want to say, based on these playlists.
Yeah. So we definitely know, based on all these snippets, that Johnny's camping trip is going to show up in a book.
Yeah.
Like it has to. Like look how many snippets there are.
There's no, I think we're definitely going to get that from their point of view. And it's very clear that like Liz obviously is spiraling at that point. So we mentioned that in March she's starting to spiral, but like April, moving into May, she's obviously still spiraling, which could be why she obviously did that to Gibbs. Maybe potentially something happened in Dublin and Hugh rejects her, and she got her hopes up that maybe it was going to happen again. And now she's like, I'm done. Like, which, is something teenagers do. So
I could totally see that.
And then obviously there's a whole thing with Feely and Katie going on throughout this as well. With their beach camping snippets, we think that's more around the swapping bunkmates. So we think that that's potentially where Katie and Feely are now, whatever they're doing. And then you've got Hugh and Liz, whatever they're doing, some sort of mutual agreement. Because there's that new snippet where he's now drunk on the cliff edge and she's also on the cliff edge, which potentially is the same cliff that they had their little beach trip when they were kids and releasing 10. So
I feel like with the beach ones too, I went back into the book and like Hugh is visibly drunk in these scenes. So like, which is very interesting to me. And then it even mentions how I think Gibbs was supposed to share a tent with Patrick, but like him and Claire just go into the same tent. So like Patrick's tent's alone that we know of.
There you go. Then we get to Biddies. Biddies is the culprit of things. So Biddies is around that June stage, and then there's a playlist there where it's about Biddies, the bar scene, Hugh, Kate, and Liz, and it's So I'm Here for Someone Else, which is again a song that she's used multiple times throughout this whole timeline. That is the scene where he is seen, I want to say, pulling his lips away from Katie, because it's like tearing his lips away from Katie is what it says.
Like he's like, please get away.
Like, no. Wasn't ready for that. That is how I pictured it. So that's how I'm going to take that. That was that kiss. Then there's a snippet of a rain scene, and we just got this playlist around Hugh calling out in the pouring rain. So we like this rain scene, we really think is different. I know there's like a debate around this is from Releasing 10, but Chloe could easily be using similar lines to make a point. It's like the other one from Releasing 10 is talking about Pierce. They're not in a car, they're on a driveway, and he doesn't mention, obviously, kissing anyone, where she's mentioning the memory of his lips on hers. So
it is very similar to what is in Releasing 10, but it is different because it's like not the same wording. So I think like maybe like, because I know a lot of other authors, like they'll reuse lines in like a lot of their different books just because they like to reuse them, or because it's like it means something. It's almost like symbolism.
Exactly. So it's like the point to say that he still feels miserable, like she's not around. Like it's been 2 years, and you know we have 18 months, and they're still miserable. I've got some playlists around Hugh loving Liz being with Katie, which is July. Really weird that there's a date on that one. Like, it's of Hugh's moral slipping in 67, and then Liz coming back to claim her man. So potentially, I guess from there, so from that like July period, maybe he's trying to like, I guess, interact with her more. I just want him to grovel, to be honest. But like, I don't think at this stage he knows anything. So there's nothing for him to really grovel about, I want to say. I think he's going to grovel when he finds out about Pierce. But like,
yeah, no, for sure.
We get to October, the biggest month of the book, because that she just loves her Halloween, I think. A coffee shop scene, Liz is, you know, not happy. She goes off. Then we've got her spiraling, and we've got the Where's My Girl snippet, which is her self-harming and Feely calling Hugh. Then Claire goes to Liz's mum, and that annoys Liz. Liz comes back, fights with Claire. Hugh drives her home, is missing for 2 hours. Then Hugh threatens Mark. So that's like the first half of October. Then we get to Hugh's 18th, blow up, Hugh feeling sick. He starts to pull away from Katie. He's like holding her hand, and then he's like, I'm contagious. Okay. Right though.
Contagious.
Of Hugh in his room whilst Claire and Gibbs in the treehouse. So these are those snippets. So you've got the Where's My Girl. The Where's My Girl one, like,
Chloe posted that one on Instagram. I literally like was like foaming out the mouth. Like I was like, what is this? After the whole scene happens at the coffee shop, like maybe Patrick drives Liz home, and then because Claire goes like off with Gibbs, so like maybe Patrick drives her home, and maybe she's still spiraling from like what happened in the coffee shop, and that's why like Feely's there at her house.
Yeah,
that's like the thing I can think of. But like the Where's My Girl part, like that makes me think like they're in communication. This.
Yeah, they're actually like comfortable with each other to do that. That's obviously a very important scene with the Where's My Girl, for him to start probably picking up some of the things. Like she mentions the monster again. We kind of talked about how she doesn't really say that a lot in her spirals. Like it's specific.
Yeah, like unless something happens and she sees the monster, that's what she normally brings him up.
If you're picking up what we're putting down.
Or could she potentially see the monster?
Yeah.
Before we knew the monster was there.
Yes, a few days before he is seen. So potential there. Then we have Hugh driving her home. And I think like the 2-hour drive, there's got to be something there, because you just wouldn't say it was 2 hours if you didn't want people to pick up it was 2 hours. I think there's a lot of theories around what Liz would actually say. And I think Liz still doesn't know. Like she just doesn't understand what's happened to her. She doesn't understand Mark. She doesn't understand Pierce. So someone actually has to help her understand that to be able to tell someone throughout this whole period of the Where's My Girl, the drive home, him then threatening Mark, and then his birthday. He's like, he's doing investigative Hugh. He's like picking up on things that she's saying. He's thinking back to things that they did as kids, because he's been doing that since Releasing 10. Like he's been doing that for years.
Yeah, he's always had this weird like something's not right, something's wrong. Like in his like position.
So I think like he's starting to piece together. I don't think he necessarily finds out about Mark at this stage, but he's probably still trying to piece together some of her behavior, some of the triggers, some of the things that she said. He's 18, so there's a few snippets there. It's basically looking like that's when they're really starting to connect back in their relationship based on some of the playlists. Like she's got the Carry You Home song again, and we've got the Back to You song, which is the same song with Katie and Feely. And then we've got Cardigan, and Liz also has Betty as her songs as well. So it's kind of like, so I showed up at your party. Will you have me? Will you love me? Like, like I definitely think there's something there for that. A Halloween fallout. Yeah, there are a few things. I think there's two, again, $1 million questions around Halloween. It's A, why is he sick after Halloween? And why did he fight Mark? Like, why is he just going off and starting fights when his parents like, he's never one to punch first? Honestly, $1 million question, that's for sure.
That will keep me up at night.
At night. And honestly, we get new theories about this every single day.
Every day we change our minds. So this we're saying right here may be different by the time we post this.
Honestly, probably multiple things happening in the background. I don't see it as just being one thing. I don't think he's going to find out everything on one go. That's a bit too much for him, okay? I think he's going to slowly find things out throughout the book.
Over like a time period where he's like piecing together. Maybe there's like one big realization of something, but I don't think it's like, bam, everything happened to Liz at once. Like, not like that.
Like if you think of it as a book, it's like a slow burn. Like we're going to be on the edge of our seats all the day being like, oh my gosh, tell us more. Like, why is he not figuring it out? That's
how we were the whole time in Releasing 10. Because like we see like Hugh picking up on things, and then like he'll be like, oh, like there's photos on Mark's desk, and we were like, as readers, we're like, oh, look at the pictures. He has to leave like little breadcrumbs for us. You know what I mean? It's not like she could just be like, here's the answer, because that's boring.
Yeah, exactly. So I think at this point, he probably still doesn't know everything about Mark. He's probably put together that some things are starting to happen and he's maybe put up the scream and whatnot. There's also like the theory that he finds out about Pierce at this time as well, which could potentially happening. Like Liz is like fighting with Pierce though at the party. So that would have to be like after the party. Otherwise you'd think he would have had a blow up with Pierce at the party, which we didn't see. So
yeah, no, I think if he's finding out that like Liz didn't actually cheat and it was more of an assault, I think it would be happen after the whole Mark situation at the party. I like this theory. I do think he might find out about it at this part, just because it does match like timeline wise, like because November 1st is when like the great betrayal between Pierce and Liz and Hugh all takes place back in like 2003. So this would lead us to November 1st, 2005, and I think that would be just like kind of cool to like Hugh's like a big full circle moment where like he finds out what happened to Liz, and like I could see him being upset about that and maybe being sick over that, just because like imagine like the only reason Hugh and Liz broke up was because he thinks there was infidelity. And then imagine like 2 years later, he realizes, hey, there was actually no infidelity. She was assaulted. And I just been like wasting my time with like another girl this whole time. I mean, anyone would be upset about that. Like, obviously every reader knows Hugh and Liz are like soulmates and like Liz is the love of Hugh's life. That's not like a question. So like, imagine finding out 2 years later, like, wait, the love of my life could have been the love of my life this whole entire time. Like I just set myself up for failure.
Releasing 10, like that's a lot of it hurt, but the Pierce thing hurt me the most.
Like, yes, me too. Like I really only cried at the Pierce.
Pierce is where I was like, oh no, like the thing there is like we're not quite sure, and we would love to know obviously how that comes about. Like does Pierce say something stupid, which he could because he's pretty stupid, like say something stupid to Liz, which then causes like Hugh to find out. But then because Liz still doesn't quite understand that was SA, and I think unless she's had a chat with Joey and Joey's potentially helped her learn that is SA because he learned that in therapy, it's going to be very hard for that to actually come out. Like how is that coming out? The only other thought I had was Feely. So you know how there's a snippet of Feely being like, you're not a victim, that kind of stuff. Like, so there's a snippet around Feely saying like, don't be a victim, is that why you ruined your life back there? Does Feely know? Like, and he then tells you.
That could be a thing too. Or maybe like the only other thing I could potentially think of, and I don't think it's going to play out this way, this is just like trying to like give people the benefit of the doubt, is like maybe if Liz and Hugh had a conversation and like about that night, like because maybe like that day like triggers memories to bring it back up. Maybe when Liz explains the situation to Hugh, maybe he puts it together that it was an assault, even though she doesn't, and maybe that's why she's not upset the next day at school, because like she probably still doesn't even recognize it is like an assault, but Hugh is, because maybe he put it together in his mind like, wait a second, that doesn't sound like consent, because he's a smart guy. Like we even learned like back when they were children, like when she's like trying to fix Hugh during that bad touch scene, he's like, wait, no, like this is not right, like this isn't how it's supposed to be. Like he knows like what's consensual, what's right and wrong, like he knows like when things are like that. So like if they had a conversation, which we never got them really talking about what happened, they kind of just like was very emotional between the both of them, which rightfully so. You know what I mean? So like maybe if they actually sat down and had a conversation, maybe he could piece it together. That's the only thing, like, and I don't know if it's gonna be like this. I really hope it's more of a Joey like explaining to Liz situation, because I think that'd be way more impactful and more full circle for all the stories. But that's the only thing I can think of. Like maybe he comes to that conclusion on his own.
Because he's like worked up after the whole Mark thing, and then she's obviously like distraught, and Shan is the one to console her. So I think Shan picks up on some stuff there for sure. Then it looks like she goes to Claire's room, potentially stays there that night. So hopefully there's a conversation or something that happens there. And we basically think him and Katie are probably done by this point. Don't think like officially in the eyes of people, I want to say, but like
personal,
like not together. Feely and Liz kissing. We don't actually know that they kiss. The snippet ends at, you're gonna kiss me. What if he's like, nah, I can't?
Say they do kiss. I don't think that's like a very intimate kiss. I think that's a more friendship, like let's make this girl jealous. Like I don't think it's like, wow, I'm in love with you, like let's kiss. Like, it's not like that.
No.
Like could that kiss, if they potentially kiss, upset you as well? Sure. I mean, that would suck to see your best friend kissing like the girl you're in love with. But like
I've seen them together.
Yeah. So maybe that can tie a role into it too. But I don't think it's like a very intimate kiss.
The other thing we noticed at Halloween, guys, is we think that potentially this is the first time that Hugh and Liz actually do the deed. Like Liz actually takes his virginity, and like we have like, this may be unhinged, but we actually have like so much evidence, and we really think that this will be like a great parallel from releasing 10, just because like all the numbers kind of match up, and Bree's going to talk to you about all those dates.
Okay, so we know back in on his birthday in 2003, his 16th birthday, Liz and Hugh planned to have their first time together. That was their entire plan. They like literally set it up. It's mentioned multiple times throughout the book. And then the only reason they didn't is because Liz was manic at the time, and Hugh was like, I'm not gonna do this when you're like this, because like he doesn't really know what version he's getting of her. And I think which is like totally valid. So with that being said, I think how cool would a parallel be that they do the deed basically 2 years later on his 18th birthday. And I was looking at a lot of these playlists, and like a lot of the songs are reused. Like I like the Way You Kiss Me one from like the first playlist at the top, you can see is also in that same Halloween playlist if you look right directly under it. In addition to that, I think there's just like a lot of like spicy songs that like were in response to the Halloween playlist. And I also think it would be Yeah. And I also think like if this does happen, I think this would be a really healing moment for both Hugh and Liz. Because if we remember from Joey and Aoife's book, Aoife and Joey had their first time in Joey's house and Joey did not want to. He was like, no, there's so many bad memories here. And Aoife's like, that's exactly why we have to, because we need to create a good memory in place of a bad one. Because regardless of what Hugh believes, if Hugh believes it's infidelity versus SA, he's going to need to rewire his brain to create a good memory. Because let's say Liz and Hugh end up dating again, which we all believe is going to happen, he needs to be able to walk into his bedroom and like have a good memory of him and Liz, and not Liz with Pierce. That's just what's gonna happen, or the relationship will fail. Unfortunately, that's just how it's gonna be. And he's not gonna be able to suppress that.
It's no different to Aoife wanting Joey to help her again remove the memory of Teddy during
Exactly.
the post-SA situation. And I think if we think about these as romance books, because that's what they are,
Yes.
I think a lot of people think things are going to happen in Dublin. Like, we really just don't think their first time would be under influence, which I know we mentioned in the Dublin thing, like under influence, like a mistake. Like, it can't be like that. They spent the whole of releasing 10 planning that on their 16th, this is when they were going to do it. So I just don't see them, if that's the first time they're reconnecting, they're actually going to, start with this as the starting point. Like, I think it needs to build up to a moment that actually heals them and it, like, pulls them together and potentially, starts that relationship nice and fresh, but also wipes the memory of like all the bad times that Hugh probably thinks about every time he walks into his room as well. So like, it just makes sense. And like with these playlists, like there's the Back to You song again, which again links to the Aftermath one around Mark. And I mean, this is probably going to be all after the Mark situation. Like,
yes, I think it's going to be after Mark for sure. I think you have to remember, and people are like, oh, it can't be after the Mark stuff because Lizzie's like spiraling after that. She was freaking out. Both Hugh and Liz were freaking out. I want to preface that. Like, they're both under immense emotional stress. And I think it would be so healing for the both of them to like be able to actually have a conversation after this Mark stuff happens and like literally like kind of like find their way back to you, like that song is saying. I think that'd be so healing for them to like handle a bad situation and make it almost a positive situation, because all we have in these books is a lot of bad, if I'm being honest. We don't have much good. And I can't, and I like what you said, Crystal, like I can't see them doing it on the Dublin trip, which is like basically the beginning of the book.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. Like that's like, we're not getting a book where like they're constantly doing, like Chloe Walsh in her core is like a romance author, but she's not a spicy scene writer. Like she's a slow burn. We get like little blurbs here and there of like things happening, but for like things to actually happen, like it's very, very like, it's always at the end. It's always later on. Like it's not going to be right away. But to add to all of this, I do think that the theory that Mark finds out about Pierce does hold some like value here. I do think it's kind of valid. I do have like a little bit different of an opinion on it, because Pierce and Liz got together during that like great betrayal when he assaulted her on November 1st. So Hugh's party, he had two parties the year of 2003. He had his birthday party on his actual birthday that his parents threw him, and then he had like a friend party that Feely and Gibbs threw, basically. And that was on the day after. It was on a Sunday. So November 1st, 2003 is when Liz comes over. She's drunk, she's manic. She thinks Pierce is Hugh. That whole thing goes down. They catch each other, they break up. So they break up November 1st. The Pierce stuff happens November 1st. And I want to explain that because I think that's when he's officially really going to find out about Pierce, because November 1st, 2005, we don't have that actual information. We have one snippet of information, which is Claire saying that he was fine all day, which we know Claire's an unreliable narrator, so we can't always take what she says with like 100% accuracy. But like, I think what happened was maybe something was said at Halloween, potentially. I could totally see that. Maybe it didn't click until like literally midday to evening in November 1st, the next day. Because that's when Hugh comes to school the following Monday, which is the Tuesday, or the following Monday, which is the 2nd. And that is when he's like really, really sick. And I think in order for Hugh to be super sick, I do think it probably is the Pierce stuff that he found out about, because I think that's a lot of guilt on him. There's also a playlist. He wakes up after his party. It's the morning after his party. And the little blurb is, what have I done? And I think people are like taking that as like, oh my gosh, what have I done? Like if I slept with Liz. And I don't think it's that. I don't think he's upset about sleeping with Liz. I think the what have I done could refer to potentially like him finding out about the Pierce stuff and being like, what have I done to Liz? Not what, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think he's gonna be sick at all once he sleeps with Liz, like about Liz.
Yeah, and then the next playlist is like Hugh drowning in his regret over Liz, like regret for leaving Liz.
Yes, like regret for what he did. Like him and Liz broke up because of infidelity. That's the only reason they broke up. I know there's some controversy where like people think it's because of her mental health. That's incorrect. I'm gonna be completely honest. You're wrong, because the entire releasing 10 is about mental health, and the whole time he's with her, and that's it. Like that's just how it is. But he told her, if you cheat on me, there's no coming back from this. That's it. He doesn't like infidelity. His whole character is, I don't like infidelity. Yeah. So it makes sense to me that
because it was about infidelity.
Yeah, because it was about infidelity, that he would be like sick to his stomach, because he just found out she never actually cheated.
He's sick again. Yeah.
The Pierce thing is the problem with Hugh and Liz. And I think people think the Mark thing's the problem with Hugh and Liz, and that's not true. The Mark thing's the problem with Liz and Gibbs.
Yeah.
Hugh's just like a bystander in that situation, but the Pierce thing directly affects Hugh.
Yes.
Unfortunately. But realistically, the Mark stuff doesn't. It affects Liz and it affects Gibbs. And I think the Mark stuff has to be intertwined with like Liz and Gibbs' story. That's why I think the big thing about the next book with Liz and Hugh has to resolve the Pierce stuff. It's not going to resolve the Mark stuff, because that's not their story.
Exactly. And they can't really get back together officially without knowing the truth around.
I agree with that.
Like, they don't need to know about the Mark stuff to get back together.
No, they do not, because the Mark stuff's not going to make or break the relationship.
But the Pierce stuff, like knowing that where they stood and everything, like that's the breaking point. And I guess the thing with the Pierce thing is we're still on the fence as how exactly that comes out, like whether Pierce says something stupid at the party, potentially, whether it clicks later for Hugh. I still think Hugh's potentially the first one probably to find out, because he's the only one that knows what happened that night. Like, nobody knows.
Yeah.
Like, it's still but I still think if we're talking about parallels, like Joey is definitely going to be involved, and like if you look at some of those players with Hugh, Liz, and Joey, like that's probably about dealing with Pierce moving forward. Like my unhinged theory is that Joey drives Liz home from the Winter Ball, and potentially that's when they have a conversation, because like I think that, like, yes, Liz has a pep in her step on Monday, which is following this whole weekend, and Hugh is unwell, right? So potentially when Hugh brings it up, she probably denies it, probably doesn't understand it. She doesn't understand it. Hugh probably will try to get more information out of her, but she will see it as, no, I'm not a victim, which she has said multiple times. And it won't be till somebody else, like could be Shannon as well, because Shannon is the one that first picks up on Joey not consenting. She's like, well, Joe, did you consent? And then she's like, well, you know, you could do it with 1,000 girls 1,000 times and you have to consent every time. Could be like Shannon. Like, so it could be either of those. I feel like more full circle it would be Joey, given the whole Danielle situation and him having to realize that himself.
I think it would also, be kind of cool for Joey to recognize like how he actually was assaulted, because he never did before. So I think that'd be a really good healing moment for like both Joey and Liz, for him to, and plus, I don't know, I think it's nice that like their relationship, like he's a little bit older, like for him to be talking to her, especially because he's a male, and I know there's like a whole stigma with that stuff too. I think coming from a male and getting that reassurance, like, hey Liz, like no, he was in the wrong, like, and I'm a guy, and I'm telling you he was in the wrong, and this is what happened to me, like that would be so important for her.
Beautiful. And yeah, so my like unhinged theory is potentially that happens when he drives her home from the Winter Ball.
No, I can totally see that. I like that theory. That's my new theory.
Yeah. So like, because like Joey drives her home. So I think like from this, like Liz and Hugh aren't necessarily back together. Like she's still pushing him away. She's like spiraling at this point. Like from the whole Mark thing, she's spiraling. Then they get to the Winter Ball. And I think what potentially causes her to spiral more is like Hugh is still seen with Katie. Okay. Yeah. Like he's holding her hand the next day. He does pull away. Okay. But
yeah, I think he's confused.
He doesn't know what to do. And he's like, you know,
because he just found out, like, let's say he just found out this Pierce information. Liz doesn't really understand it. She's in denial about it, but Hugh's not. Hugh's like, oh my gosh, like this was an assault. He doesn't know what to do. Exactly. He's like, I have a theory that potentially like Katie and Hugh aren't even really fully together at this point, but let's just like give everyone the benefit of the doubt, because we know what's canon.
Done, but okay.
Yeah, we know what's canon right now is Hugh and Katie are still together. That's what we know from the published work. So I think he would be really confused if he found out about like all this Pierce stuff while still having Katie as his girlfriend, because like I think he'd be like, I don't think he's into this relationship. I don't think he is. And now he's like, I don't probably want to hurt Katie, but also like
nice.
I just found out this news that just basically changed my entire life.
Yeah.
That's why I think like they have to sleep together, regardless if it's cheating or not. They have to sleep together, and like they have to, like, the breakup between Hugh and Katie's gonna have to happen quickly after. It's not gonna be like they sleep together in March and they go through an entire year. Like no, that's not happening.
That's not Hugh. Like
that's not Hugh.
Own up to it straight away. Like his mum told him, you need to speak your feelings and be honest. So
it's just,
like, yeah,
they're not. Also, I just don't think they're gonna be able to stay away from each other. If I'm being completely honest, after their first time, like they're gonna be like conjoined at the hip.
That could be like why. So a few days later, so on the 4th of November, you've got this tree snippet where Claren gives him the tree house, and then Hugh's at home, and the snippet against it is where like Liz is obviously manic, and she's saying like, can you do me again? And he's like, I'm not going to do you again. And I think that he doesn't want to do it, A, because she's manic, but B, he doesn't want to do it again until he's broken up with Katie. Like,
yeah.
Like,
completely.
I think he's still genuinely a good guy. We don't think him and Katie are actually like together at this point, but like from the eyes of everyone else, he's very big on people's reputation. Like he talks about Liz's reputation to Pierce. So like, I feel like he wouldn't want to like destroy Katie's reputation or like.
Yeah, and at the core, Katie and Hugh are friends. Like they have a friendship. They do like each other's company, and like that's important. Like I don't think he's gonna want to purposely harm her. Like I don't think that's like his MO. Like Hugh's just an all around good guy. Like even like Liz says, like it's in like a snippet, and I don't even know if I can find it, but like Liz even mentions like how they've been broken up, but he'll still like pull out a chair for her, and like he always says hi to everyone, and like it's just he's just a good person. So like that's also kind of why I feel like if he cheats, which is still very uncharacteristic in my eyes, if he does, it's going to be one time, it's going to be at the end of the book, and it's going to be like quickly resolved with a breakup and a conversation between Katie and Hugh, because Hugh doesn't like infidelity. Hugh is a good boy. He has morals. He's a gentleman. Like we just know this information, so it seems very out of character. But if it does happen, and I'm not denying that it might happen, like I think it's going to have to be something that's resolved very quickly.
Yeah, and that's why we think like at the Winter Ball is when they break up.
Yeah.
Obviously now focused on Liz. That kind of leads us to like the whole cheating thing. Like I know like we've looked at all these cherry playlists, and we know there's a lot around. There's Dublin playlists, there's cherry playlists, there's honestly like when like I was looking at these, there's just too many. Like we don't think there will be that many spicy scenes in a book where she hardly writes spicy scenes. So I know that cherries can implicate something sexual. I kind of thought, what if it means that he's still a virgin? Like what if it means that maybe they're having like, I don't know, little moments, little sweet moments like a cherry, but he's still a virgin in these situations because there's just too many cherries around. Because I know
your first time is only gonna happen one time. So I'll see how Hugh can like go through each of these scenes, and you know what I mean? It does make sense.
Yeah, so, and like if you look at the timeline of these, so you've got library trips, you've got spin the bottle, which is potentially from Dublin, you've got sleepovers in her room, and we know there's a snippet that says you're going to sleep in my bed, but we're just going to sleep. Like there's the pool room, which is when he potentially confronts her about the legs.
Wait, these are actually like in order, I think. Like because the library trip happens right before Dublin. Spin the bottle is probably Dublin, and then the pool storeroom, that's August. I think those might technically be in timeline order.
Yeah, so like it just kind of doesn't make sense. Like it's just very out of character for him. But you know, obviously anything's on the table. But like that's why we really think that his 18th birthday weekend is when we find out some truth around Pierce, and and then the other thing I guess around Pierce is like how is Pierce handled? Like he is seen in December when Liz has her spiral, but he is very like mean, I want to say. He's like calling her crazy and that she needs to go in the hospital. So like is it potential that Hugh did have a chat to him? He denies it, says she's crazy. And that's him like obviously trying to fight it.
Justify it, yeah.
But I don't think Hugh's done anything to him yet. Like
No, I don't either.
Like we would have seen something. Like
I agree. I think it would have to be after Liz and Joey talk too. Because I truly do think the Joey Hugh Liz playlists have nothing to do with Mark and all to do with Pierce.
And like so like Hugh says to like Pierce in R10 that if you ruin her reputation, I'll bury you. Very specific. And Joey says in Redeeming 6, if anyone did that to his sister, he'd be murderous. So I mean take that as you please, but Joey also mentioned that Lizzie is going to be like his sister and brother under his protection moving forward into Tommen. So yeah, 100% like
I see
that hill in trouble. And I think like again this could be many things. I know we're talking about the Joey Lynch kind. He does say, is it drugs? He says, no, it's not drugs. He doesn't actually confirm that it is Joey Lynch kind as well. Like there's no nodding, he says, no, it's not drugs. So I know that the other problem that Joey has is
I hate this one. I hate it.
We don't like it. We're to be honest, we hate it. I think if the accidental pregnancy thing goes down the track, say they have been cheating and whatever, and they do accidentally fall pregnant, that's really just going to remove the focus of what the actual problems are. Like it's
like Liz has so much trauma she has to unpack already, and then throwing a baby on top of it, and like say it's like a miscarriage, or like even if they had a child, like I don't think it does anything for their story. Yeah,
it's not really going to give value at this stage because they're still not back together. Like we're not at a stage where we move and heal because we're not even at the truth stage.
Will she furthermore go with the baby route? Maybe. If I really dug deep, I could make you believe it. I can make you believe Liz gets pregnant.
You can make you believe anything.
I really could. I could make you believe it, but I don't want to. Like I refuse to.
Exactly. Like I think the trouble quote is the night before Mark leaves. Mark is seen leaving the next day by Claire. So Mark is still obviously alive, guys. So
Mark is alive after Hugh gets sick. Mark is alive. Let's say together, guys. Mark is alive.
Not saying that couldn't happen in the future, but I just don't think yet in the Taming 7 timeline. If he's found out about Pierce, why is he in trouble? Did he do something to Pierce? Like if he's found out about Mark, why is he in trouble? He obviously hasn't done anything to Mark. So
I think the word trouble is just like very confusing.
Yeah.
And then I think later, I don't know if it's in the PowerPoint, but like Gibbs is telling Hugh about Claire, and then he's like, I'm too broken to like fight you. Like I'm whatever. Like be good to her. He's just like done. Like he literally says the word like I'm too broken. So like that makes me feel more depression, sadness. Like
trouble because I'm depressed and I'm sad.
And
he's regretful, he's remorseful, he's feeling guilty.
Yeah, and you hear people who are depressed always refer to themselves as broken to Mark.
Like I don't think it could mean something different in Ireland than it does mean to us.
That's true too. I don't know like what they
used to trouble for. Maybe like, oh, maybe I made a mistake, or like sense about that. Could be about Pierce, could be about Mark. We don't think he knows fully about Mark just yet. I think he's still speculating. He's still trying to put things together because it's very clear that Liz is still in denial about everything and the letter. So no, we're not there just yet. Then we get to the winter ball. Yay.
Winter ball.
We love the drama. So we get another movie of the winter ball because it says Hugh's POV at winter ball. So yes.
I can't wait. I cannot wait for this.
So, like, we mainly see Claire in a blank bathroom. And it's like, what is everyone else doing?
Like all we got is like Liz and Hugh like coming into the same common room that like Claire and Gibbs end up after the whole like bathroom scene. So like why like
no idea together. Why? Yeah, exactly.
He like was literally seen before like Claire disappeared. He was seen with Katie like half dancing, half hugging, and then like which in my eyes is a goodbye hug and dance. I'm gonna be
literally for her dear life, like
like patting each other's back, because later then we get like the Liz and Hugh stuff where they're like sneaking off together, and it's like the show me scene.
Definitely snippets there. There is a snippet around Hugh dancing with Liz. Now we're not sure if this is from the winter ball or potentially like their grad ball in the future, but the song is around like a ginger lady and like him still being in love with another girl. So and then we've got the Hugh confessing his feelings for Liz song. So like that potentially could have happened while Claire's in the bathroom reading this bloody letter, because it would be that like Claire doesn't make a comment in this scene. She would have been like, and his sister, whatever, was giving me do you know what I mean? Like, so it could have been, we're not 100% sure, but we'll take it as please. And then you've got the show me scene. The show me scene, we're on the fence about, like, it could be self-harm because she's spiraling, really kind of losing. Could be medication she's not taking. It could be he's found something and she took it and he wants to see it. And the fact that he says, like, I can't do this anymore, like, you're wrecking me, it makes it more mental health than it is like everything.
Yeah, I agree. I'm leaning away from like the cutting and leaning more towards medication, just because I know he does like to like see like how long she's been on like her pills, and like if there's a lot left, he knows like it's been months. So like maybe that, and we did know that she was spiraling since like March, April. So maybe.
And we know that she had her pills on her because Shannon got a diazepam for Claire.
That is very true. I didn't even put that together. It has to be like medication to me. Yeah. I also feel like if it was evidence, like say it was the photos or something, why would you show them at a school dance?
Yeah, why would she take them and take them to school? Like,
taking childhood photos of you literally in like these vulnerable positions, like at a school dance, that doesn't make sense to me.
So this is a time, I think, but probably not, because she's unraveling in Christmas.
I don't know. Everything's just, everyone's unraveling all the time.
Yeah, I think there's probably a point of her saying that she's spiraling and then she's unraveling. Like, that sounds a bit darker.
Like, we were here, let's go down.
Move down a few levels. So apparently there are a lot of songs in the playlist for Christmas that were sad. There was one that was, you know, I think it's there. It's If One of Us Dies, I Hope I Die First. So there is potential for a very heavy, I want to say, Christmas self-harm scene, potential attempt. And, you know, Hugh is potentially going to intercept that. As it appears, he runs out of the family dinner and he leaves and he goes back to Liz. So that's great. But I don't think it's all going to be happy and cheery. I think it's very much going to be him trying to, I guess, convince her to continue and support her and all that kind of stuff. As he when he tells her that, like, he wants to, you know, fight for her and get back with her. He's done with Katie at this point, guys.
He has to be done with Katie at this point. I don't see them together.
I wouldn't mind a bit of grovel here.
Yeah, do some love confessions or something.
Give me the love confessions, give me the rain, give me the... I mean, this we still don't know if that's Hugh and Liz or if that's Billy and Katie. I mean, we're on the fence about it. I would love it to be Hugh and Liz, so that's why I put it in, but it could be Billy and Katie. But the I fucking love you, they might want you, but I fucking love you is making us feel like he's having to make a point as to why she should pick him, you know? Yeah. Then we get to New Year's Eve 2005. The big kiss, I want to say, on New Year's Eve.
That's a good point. I didn't know where to put that snippet. I was like staring at it.
Are we going to be screaming, crying, throwing up? Yes, I will literally be screaming, crying, throwing into my book. My Kindle will just be thrown across the floor because I'll be so bloody that they're finally together. So this is pretty it. The songs are I'd Come For You, The Heart Never Lies, and Always Remember Us This Way. Same song, Always Remember Us This Way, that she used in Releasing 10.
Oh, that's so true. I could cry.
just cry tears, but it's okay, guys. So New Year's Eve says, like, we're fine, we're back together.
We made it. They're happy. We're good.
My heart started.
Literally, like, I felt my like heart rate escalate.
Thanks. Then 2006, don't know, but they're obviously going to be back together early 2006. And there's a lot of, I guess, playlists that imply that it's Liz and Hugh against the world. I want to say it's Liz and Hugh against the gang. It's him fighting for her character, all that kind of stuff. There's a few snippets that probably released recently that are about him supporting her and stuff. So they just don't really fit in the timeline of Taming 7. So they're probably more so in the future. So I still feel like Hugh doesn't know everything. Like, there's no everything. I think he knows enough. He knows enough to make.
He was still upset. I want to like make that clear. Like, even at the last page of Taming 7, he was still upset because it literally says it's in Claire's point of view, and she's walking in with Gibbs. Liz and Joey are like in that like little kitchen area in the common room. Katie, Aoife, and Patrick are all on the couch, and Patrick's like playing his guitar, and he was like looking out the window, hands in like his head, and like he's like just like still miserable. And then Claire literally says like things are heating up, like something's happening, something's going down, and like I think that brings us into like explosions and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's a lot of snippets of him with Claire around Lizzie as well. So like there's potential that he's now feeling stuck in the middle. He doesn't know everything yet, but he's still in the middle. Like, he's still he knows enough to side with Liz, if that makes sense.
Hugh's not Claire. Like, if Hugh does know something, he's not going to out it like Claire did. So like if he knows parts of Liz's secret, he might just be like, Claire, like, be there for her, but he's not gonna be like, hey Claire, like, this happened to Liz. Like, that's not his secret to share. Like, I think he would want her to be the one to communicate that. I don't like, it's not like Claire, because Claire, how she like outed Gibbs' a secret, in my opinion, was wrong at the dance. And I know it came from a place of like her being very like stressed and like not knowing how to handle that, and she's always like jumping into action. But like Hugh's not like that. Hugh needs concrete evidence. He needs to think it through. He's a smart person. Like, if he needs everything lined up before he can present his case.
100%, yeah. And he's still obviously not sure on the letter, so he is wanting that in place because Liz hasn't told him everything, and Liz probably can't unless there's a journal. Like, I don't think things are coming out.
Knows what happened to her fully. Like, I think someone is going to have to explain it to her.
Yeah, the co-hacker scheme, I am fearful that that's never going to come out, but unless we go down the track of pregnancy,
we're not going to need like an aha moment. Like we see in like Releasing 10 when like Kiva calls Mark a monster on April 4th, 2000, when like the start of like the 3 weeks is, when Kiva says you're a monster to Mark, it pings in like Liz's brain like, monster, Mark was my monster. Could it be Winter Ball? Could it be when Gibbs' letter comes out that like she has that aha moment? Maybe.
Yeah.
But like, I think she doesn't fully understand what happened to her.
Yeah. So like Hugh has to find that out. So I think that's going to be a lot about early 2006. And realistic, I know we want Hugh to do something, but at this stage, I don't think he's done anything.
I don't think he's done anything. I think, like I said, he's a smart person.
He's not just going to get up and like, even if let's say he does know everything about Mark at this stage, he's not going to just get up and be like, let's do something. He
would need a plan.
wants the evidence. He wants to,
If Liz doesn't fully understand what happened to her, I can't imagine Hugh taking that justice from her, if I'm being honest. Like, I think it would have to be, in my opinion, I want like Liz and Gibbs to be the ones to get their justice together. And I think that will make them be friends again and make it like a team bonding thing. You know what I mean? Like in whatever capacity it may be. But like, I personally think like if she's ever going to recover, if Gibbs is ever going to recover, they need to get that justice together. I don't want it to be like Hugh running off alone and then like offing Mark. Like that seems so weird to me.
I think he needs to find the proof. Like we need the proof. Like we need the evidence. We need photos. We need letters. We need something, because it's he said against she said at this stage. Besides Gibbs, like there's nothing.
And we know like the guards have never took her seriously. So if she just comes out and says it to the guards, like no one's believing her. I'm gonna be honest, no one's gonna ever believe her.
He doesn't have enough to action just yet. So he needs.
I think that was kind of like the point of like them as children going to the guards so much, like about like the scary lady. Like I think it was to make a point like no one ends up believing them. So and it's very easy to like disregard what they're saying. So I think that's why Hugh also will need a lot of evidence, because like they're not going to believe them.
But yeah, so that's basically what we have for Liz and Hugh. I mean, that's more around their relationship and them getting back together. We will unpack the Mark thing. We will unpack Billy and Katie and the letters and things like that. We just think sometimes it's a bit easier to do it separately and then obviously put it back together. But yeah, so if you have any questions, please let us know. Drop it in the comments. Make sure you follow us on TikTok and Instagram, because we will continue on our series.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I mean, you guys have been giving us so many comments and like reaching out personally to us, and it like makes us so happy. Like so many of you want us to start like a podcast. It's so much fun. We're having a great time.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.